What's up, gamers? This is Yuban with a Mechabellum replay commentary. Today we are going to showcase the newly buffed Shockwave technology on the Arclight. Our opponent today is Kepals, one of our favorite Twitch streamers, a 2000 MMR player. Looking at our starting specs, we decided to go for the Sabertooth spec with Arclight and Sabertooth. We wanted to test out the newly buffed Shockwave technology with some kind of high damage dealing unit. And in this case, starting with 2 Sabertooth and also get a reduction on Sabertooth technology can be a phenomenal choice for us. Opponent went for the Marksman spec with a very high tempo Hound Mustang starting pack. This is a beautiful starting pack in my opinion because you have anti-air right from round 1 and you have these chaff clear units in the form of hounds, meaning that you can transition into a lot of late game giant or late game even titans, and it can all just pair really well with this initial board setup. And honestly, it doesn't do too bad in the early rounds of the game. On our side, we decided to go for a slight mid-range setup with our Arclight and Sabertooth. We have it slightly behind our usual mid-range setup because we wanted to take advantage of our Arclight's superior range, especially once we click the range enhancement against our opponent's hounds. We want to kind of just end up in more of a mid-range, less of a headbutt situation. Okay, with our opponent's superior movement speed going into our tower, opponent gets the first tower debuff. However, does that mean we can get a counter debuff at a better timing? It seems like we get the better end of the tower timing, and we also get some chaff units going into our opponent's tower. And this is going to result in a round 1 victory in this crossfire situation, equalizing our HP pool. Alright, round 2 unit reinforcement, immediately going for the double fang. I've talked about the beauty of having 2 deployments over 1 deployment, especially when we get offered these chaff units. Because deployments is something that you can only mass recruit once a round, meaning any extra deployment you can get at any point of the game is a win in my opinion. From here, we decided to set up a defensive posture, putting 1 Arclight on our defensive tower with 2 packs of chaff behind. Our goal here was to kill all the crawlers that are streaming into the defensive wall and allow our anti-armor cannon and the Arclights to help taking out the hounds. And we also decided to recruit 1 pack of marksmen on our strong side, on the flank side, to essentially help us defend against any kind of air units coming into our strong side, and hopefully for this marksman to survive into the later of the round, so we can kill any air units our opponent has to offer. In this case, we're happy to have picked up the marksman because our opponent went for a round 2 Phoenix. This is a very strong play, especially against our Sabertooth and Arclights, which are both really weak to Phoenixes. Let's see if our tower debuff timing here on the right side can grant us a win once again. Seems like with our marksman getting taken down, we're just going to lose by default, and our opponent has a lot more units anyway. So Kepals take back round 2, and now for our power spike turn with our Sabertooth drop. And we decided to go for a missile strike. Even though these items are very tempting for high-level Sabertooth, after seeing our opponent's Phoenixes, after seeing our opponent's 1 pack of Phoenix, we thought maybe the Sabertooth is not going to get too much values or even levels because there's no good targets for them to shoot at. Our opponent has no tarantula or saber-tooth or even arclights for our saber-tooth. In this case, we just decided go for a missile strike, go for a safe option, hitting the phoenixes, and trying to get some mustangs in the process. And you'll notice that we sold out of our left side saber-tooth and used our newly addition saber-tooth to put on our weak side tower. This is because we noticed that this guy wasn't doing a lot of damage, and we just wanted one more saber-tooth here for some additional HP to tank for the mustangs and fangs and the hounds. And with our remaining cash, we went for the range enhancement. And this is why I enjoy having these unit drop specialists, because this extra 200 supply allows us to maintain our board states in terms of unit count. And it also just gives us a cash injection of 200 supplies. In this case, we're still keeping our Chungus because we wanted this guy to just kind of help out as extra body to stall. In this case, we're able to stall the steel balls quite a bit, allowing our Arclights now with range to successfully chaff clear and take out pretty much every single chaff on the board. However, what happened to my sniper in the back? I don't know what happened. We'll have to take a look. And in this case, we had no fangs left alive, which means our tempo turn, our power spike turn, we still ended up losing to our opponent, which is the power of air units. This is why mass phoenixes is so powerful early in the game. Yeah, we didn't sell the marksman. I don't know what happened to it. Anyways, here we are heavily contemplating on playing extended range fortress or grabbing the barrier tech and just grab like a melting point or something that can shoot air, that can make our left side really tanky with a 60,000 HP. However, on round 4, not having a lot of supplies, we decided let's just skip. For anti-air, instead of trying to go for fortress anti-air with the extended range, if we want anti-air barrage, we can always just grab it on regular fortresses anyway. And that might be better with the extra HP, without the HP debuff. So instead, with our cash injection, after selling out of our second saber-tooth, we decided to go for the Mustang range, putting them all the way in the back. And this is something that I have learned from watching Flower Fairy. Pretty much every single board state, he will have two to three packs of Mustangs in the back with range, all the way in the back, so they are late arriving. They can act as late chaff once everything in the front is cleared. And of course, it's going to give us a nice boost of anti-air against our opponent's phoenixes. Seems like with the oil drop down and Mustangs going to work, we're going to be able to clear our opponent's high-level phoenix on the left side here. Maybe even grabbing some levels on the Mustangs. Indeed we do. And just like that, we grab another round back, regaining tempo. And now we have double levels on the Mustangs, which is pretty overpowered, especially with these improved fire control system item dropping. Now we are really cooking. Let's see if our opponent goes for the same thing. Pretty sure he's going to grab the item as well. And from here, we could do two things with the oil. We can just leave it there and let it slow down our opponent and hope that we can get a fortunate trait just like last round. Or we can go for a Fire Badger cheese and just light the oil on fire, because look at how many packs of chaff units our opponent has, all concentrated on this left side. And with our frontline Fang and the Fire Badgers, all the units on the left side are going to trickle in and walk through the oil. Let's see if we can successfully light up the oil, or if our opponent's beacon trick is going to be able to help him get out of harm's way. Looks like opponent went for the portable shield on the level 1 steel ball. I think this is a good play, and it would have been even better if the steel balls were like level 2 or level 3. Then they would be really difficult for our Mustangs to deal with. Let's see if we can handle the level 1 guys. Seems like the right side is doing quite well with our newly added Mustang to help with late arriving chaff clear. And look at this. Being level 1 steel balls, they really didn't do a whole lot. However, with our opponent's range hounds, they were able to stay back for a bit longer, allowing them to chaff clear. But the result is going to be similar to last round, especially with our itemized level 2 Mustang. And here I was getting really excited, maybe we can break the shield, but our opponent's Fang just walked forward. Now, these bubbles are really annoying right now. Okay, round 6 unit reinforcement. I have anti-air covered. I'm not afraid of the Overlord. I don't really want to play Void Eyes for some reason, and I was really wary of the Rhinos. If he grabs the level 2 Rhinos, put the portable shield on it, give it an armor tech, then I would have no DPS on our board to take them down. So we needed a DPS unit. In this case, we decided to go for the Scorpion because our opponent was into steel balls and they were also into hounds. I do find that the Scorpions can do decently against a lot of clumped up hounds, at least helping us take them down. So this is exactly what we're going for. Double Scorpion drop, immediately giving them the range enhancement. And because we don't want our Scorpions to get stuck shooting at chaff units, we decided to finally go for the newly buffed Shockwave technology, reducing our attack range by only 5, however giving us a 85 damage Shockwave 30-meter radius, meaning that even if our Arclight gets stuck shooting at the hounds or gets stuck shooting at the Rhino, they're going to still be able to clear the chaff units that are trickling from behind. And you're going to see the beauty of this tech synergizing with Mustangs, as the Shockwave don't necessarily kill all the chaff units in one go, but the Mustang's tick damage allowed us to just be super efficient. Look at all the chaff units here on the left side here melting away, exposing this level 2 Rhino with the portable shield. I was actually quite shocked that our opponent didn't go for the armor technology right away. And with a fortunate luring of our opponent's Rhino, we were able to take it down with our final Scorpion shot before the tower debuff. And this time, let's hope our Fangs on the right side can take out our opponent's lonely Phoenixes in the air. Two singular Phoenixes going into level 3. Thank goodness we can take it down. Okay, taking our opponent down now to 1200 HP, feeling pretty solid and really surprised at how good the Shockwave tech worked out. I did not think it was going to be any good. Okay, now going to round 7, we could go for Fortified Mustang maybe, but maybe that's kind of throwing the game because we do want the Mustang staying back. We also have a level 2 Sabertooth on the right side here, so potentially a case for the Nano repair kit. However, here I thought this guy's not tanky enough for us to sink 100 supplies into. Let's just use the extra cash to help us elite recruit one more Scorpion, because I was actually quite afraid of the late arriving Rhino with an item coming in. If he clicks the armor tech, I think we would not have any chance of taking it down. So from here, we go Elite Recruit, level 2 Mustang in the middle to help out with our push. One more level 2 Arclight to put in the backside because we noticed that the Shockwave tech really accelerates chaff clear if we have a lot of clumped up Arclights. So you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 Arclights defending the left side. And here, opponent goes for a War Factory with range. An excellent counter against our Scorpions and Arclights, if he can chaff clear well enough. And in this case, you can see that because our chaff clear speed is superior, that means we get exposure to our opponent's hounds. And once the hounds are out of the way, all these late arriving Mustangs and Fangs are just tying up our opponent's War Factory pretty much indefinitely. Look at this. And even without the tower debuff, we were able to take our opponent down, and that's going to be GG. In summary, the Shockwave technology solves two problems for the Arclight. One, Arclight used to be very vulnerable to getting stuck on big units like the Rhino or Scorpions, and once they get stuck on these singular big units, they lose their entire chaff clear ability. However, in this case, with the Shockwave, even if we are locked onto a tanky unit, the resultant Shockwave is going to help us soften up the surrounding chaff units in the process. And that's going to allow other Arclights to clear chaff, or for these nice Mustang pairings in the back to support in clearing these annoying crawlers. Number two is the speed of chaff clear for Arclights around going into like round 6 to round 10 and on. Arclights are phenomenal against maybe like 4 packs, 5 packs of crawlers trickling in like 2 lines at a time. They can handle that. However, once the game progresses into maybe like 6, 7 packs of chaff with underground blitz, then Arclights become very slow at chaff clearing, and they lose to a lot of hyper aggression pushes because they just cannot clear underground blitz crawlers fast enough. And I believe that having the Shockwave tech and clumping them up is going to help us solve that problem, as you can see that our opponent had no chance of pushing into our tower. So that concludes our replay commentary for today. Thank you for watching. Until next time.